talk about some of the pros and cons.
Okay,
Does
let's
that work?
do it.
All right.
Let's do it.
Let's start with indoor first. What are some of the pros of having an indoor wedding?
You don't have to worry about the weather. Besides photos, which is always nice to take outside, but it's not a terrible situation if you don't need a backup plan, and you have no weather worries, no weather woes.
Weather woes. Nice.
Like
that should be the name of this.
I like
Weather
it.
woes.
Weather woes. It's easier to design because you don't have to worry about like designing two separate spaces. So like a lot of times with like our couples, if they're outdoors, we have to think about like, okay, if it does rain, how are we going to utilize this decor inside to make inside look beautiful?
Right.
You know, like, and a lot of times people pick outside because they didn't necessarily love the inside. And so now they're like, do I get extra decor, you know, to like make this space I didn't even like beautiful as a backup plan? So yeah, it's easier to design indoors. Also, you have AC and heat. So what you were saying,
right?
That's a big win. You don't have to, literally goes back to weather woes, right?
Except our indoor wedding, during the hurricane, the air went out.
Yeah.
And it was 1,000 degrees.
It was like we had an outdoor summer wedding.
Yeah.
And
so just open the windows. Let the hurricane in a little bit and kind of cool everybody off.
Come on, guys.
Yeah.
And also year round. So like you don't have to, like, you're not going to necessarily have an outdoor wedding anywhere in, you know, December. Maybe in the South, but definitely not in the North.
Right.
It'd be real cold.
Yeah.
Real snowy.
Yeah. Unless you're into that.
Hey, why not?
Yeah.
Your guests, you might be into that, but your guests are not going to be thrilled having to sit outside for 30 minutes in the snow.
It'd be one of those scenarios where
it's a good elopement opportunity.
One of those scenarios where the bride gets to wear that fur coat thing that everybody's always taking pictures of.
Or you could just wear it outside for a couple pictures.
Or you could do that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay, all right.
I mean, if you're trying to get the use out of it, though, like you're trying to justify it.
Why not?
Why not? Okay. So as far as, you know, the cons obviously is the weather. What are some other cons? Well, I'm sorry. Cons for indoor is not weather. That's a pro. What are some of the cons of an indoor wedding?
Getting ahead. You're trying to.
I'm jumping the gun
Trying
here.
to put words in my mouth.
I know.
Space constraints. So outside, you generally have more space because you're outside. Not always, but a lot of times indoors, you have like, you know, your four walls that you're working within.
Yeah.
You don't have that like naturally. I mean, your space is probably beautiful, but you don't have like this like, you know, outdoor area. So you might need more costs for design and things like that, depending on what your venue ends up looking like.
Mm-hmm.
You might need lighting or drapery or, you know, flowers and things like that. Whereas like an outdoor wedding typically already has some sort of flower
built-in
element.
decor.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah. And indoors, not always, but a lot of times don't have nearly as much natural light as outside. Of course, you have your venues that have tons of natural light, which is awesome. But natural light tends to make for even better photos and things like that.
Sure.
So,
okay.
I guess those are the cons.
So then let's flip it. Again, we just kind of, some of the cons end up being the pros for outdoor.
Opposite.
But yeah, so what are some of the pros of the outdoor? Obviously, the built-in decor.
Built-in decor.
Lighting.
Natural light. Yep. Yeah, I think natural scenery. I think also like a lot of the pictures of like inspiration that are out there are like outdoor type.
They are.
Yeah. So I feel like people tend to think now like almost like outdoor ceremony because that's the inspiration that you're seeing on, you know, Instagram, Pinterest, Bustld.
Right.
So I think that kind of plays into it too. So like a lot of times if you're trying to design and like describe like style, if you're thinking, you know, church or something like that, there's not as many pictures and inspiration as there is for like an outdoor ceremony.
Okay. So then what are obviously the cons?
Weather woes.
Weather woes.
Unpredictable. It's unpredictable. So then with that unpredictability comes a lot of times extra costs. So, you know, last minute you have to decide to add on a tent, add on a heater, add on air conditioning. That can add up really quick.
Yeah.
So that's something that, you know, people don't always think about. And then, you know, bugs, like the outdoor elements are there. Like
right. So here in the South,
mosquitoes, you know, heat if it's hot or if it's super cold, if it rains. You just have like a lot more things to think about than you would indoors, where it's controlled. It's a controlled environment indoors.
I remember a wedding that I helped you with early on in the days of Something Perfect, where it was an outside wedding or outside ceremony, not outside wedding, just the ceremony. But it was like July or August, and it was like the heat of the day. And I remember guests that got there early, which is
normal.
Good and normal. Good is debatable, I guess. But got there super early. And then some of the older folks started getting so hot that one almost fainted. You know, some had to go inside. And it really it kind of put a damper on it because they had gotten there so early.
Yeah. So, I mean, and like heels, you don't think about that, but like a lot of your guests are going to be wearing heels. So if they have to walk through the grass, if you want to walk through the grass. So those are like elements to think about. Like there's all ways around it. You can provide heel stoppers. You can wear wedges. You can say it in your invitation or on your wedding website or whatever. But just different things to think about when it comes to outdoor. It's just it's a lot more elements to plan.
Yeah.